People always say childhood memories fade with time, but some memories don't fade. They carve themselves into your bones. Mine begins at a family party. I was 16, young enough to be hopeful, old enough to understand pain when it arrives without warning. Our backyard was full of laughter that night. Fairy lights hung from trees, children ran between tables, and uncles argued loudly over cricket matches while aunties pretended not to care. Music played from a speaker that crackled. The smell of biryani floated in the air, and the night felt almost normal. Almost. Because my mother never let anything be normal for long. She floated through the guests like a queen, sharp, beautiful, admired, feared. She didn't look at me unless she needed something. A plate moved. A drink refilled. A chore handled. Never a smile. Never warmth. Never, "Are you enjoying yourself, honey?" My existence in her eyes was functional, not emotional. I was passing a tray of drinks when it happened. Small details I still remember in painful clarity. A child running too fast. A spilled drink. A slippery patch on the marble tiles. My foot losing grip. My body twisting strangely. A crack. One that still echoes in my nightmares. Then pain. Sharp, violent, merciless. I screamed before the world tilted and collapsed under me. Everything went silent in the way trauma silences sound, like your ears stop working so your mind can focus on survival. When I opened my eyes, two things were clear. Something was terribly wrong with my leg. And my mother wasn't looking at me. Everyone else panicked. My aunt held my hand, sobbing. Someone called an ambulance. My cousin covered me with her shawl, whispering, it's okay, even though it wasn't. But my mother? She stood at a distance with her arms crossed, expression tight with irritation, as if my accident had personally offended her. When the ambulance arrived, I reached for her hand. Instinctively, naively. She didn't take it. She stepped back. Don't dramatize, Reina, she said sharply. You're fine. But I wasn't fine. I was 16 with shattered bones and no idea how my world was about to fall apart. The ride to the hospital felt endless. I drifted in and out of consciousness. Every pothole sent a scream up my spine. The paramedic kept telling me to stay awake, but the darkness pulled me like gravity. When we arrived, the doctors rushed me in for scans. Machines hummed, lights blurred, voices blended. Then came the verdict. A severe fracture. Emergency surgery required. Immediately. I remember lying there, helpless, praying she would say yes. Praying she would choose me. Praying she would be a mother. But my mother walked into the doctor's office and said words I can still hear in my nightmares. No surgery. We're refusing. The doctor stared at her, shocked. She could lose mobility. This is dangerous. I said no. I felt something inside me break, worse than my bones. Mom, I whispered, voice trembling. Please. She didn't look at me. Not once. Not even for a second. Instead, she signed a form that would change everything. The doctor walked out moments later, pale, defeated. He whispered to the nurse. Guardian's signature is complete. But something felt wrong. Very wrong. Because when the nurse pinned the chart at the end of my bed, I saw it. Not my mother's name. Not her handwriting. The guardian listed on my file was someone else. Someone I didn't know. Someone I had never heard of. A new guardian. And in that moment, my world shifted from fear to absolute confusion. Why did my mother refuse surgery? Why was someone else listed as my guardian? Who signed that paper? And what were they trying to hide? I didn't know then, but that single signature, given without my consent, without my knowledge, would change the course of my entire life. The hours after the accident blurred into a haze of pain, antiseptic scent, and cold metal for stands. But one thing remained painfully sharp in my mind. The signature on my hospital file was not my mother's. I stared at it again and again, a name I had never heard, written in rushed, slanted handwriting. Guardian. Aaron Hale. Aaron Hale. Who was he? Why was he listed as my legal guardian? How did he sign anything for me? The nurse must have seen the panic in my eyes as she checked my vitals. Sweetheart, she whispered, don't worry. Your guardian approved the MRI and pain medication. You're in good hands. Good hands. If only she knew the truth. My mother refused everything. My mother left the doctor arguing. My mother didn't care if my leg healed wrong, or if it healed at all. The nurse paused before leaving. There's a man in the waiting area. The one who signed the form. He asked to be notified when you woke up. I blinked in confusion. A man? My voice was barely a whisper. She nodded. He looked worried. Worried? A stranger was worried? When my mother wasn't. The world felt upside down, twisted in ways I couldn't understand. Before I could ask more, the door swung open. My mother walked in, her heels clicking sharply against the floor. Her face was stiff, irritated, as if my injury inconvenienced her more than it hurt me. Her first words weren't, "How are you?" Not even, "Does it hurt?" No. She looked at my leg hanging in traction and said, "You embarrassed me tonight." Embarrassed her. A laugh escaped me. A weak, broken, painful thing. I embarrassed you? My voice cracked. She crossed her arms. If you weren't so clumsy. Mom, I could have lost my leg. I cried. Stop being dramatic. Dramatic. The favorite word of people who hate accountability. I stared at her, feeling the distance between us expand like a canyon. Why did you refuse the surgery? I whispered. She looked away. You don't need it. Rest will fix it. Even the doctor said that was a lie. Then, who signed the consent? I demanded, my voice trembling. She flinched. A small, almost invisible flinch. But I saw it. She looked at the chart at the end of my bed, looked at the signature, and her entire expression tightened. That doesn't concern you, she said sharply. It does concern me, I said, louder than I intended. It's my body. My surgery. Who is Aaron Hale? She clipped her purse shut, her tone cold as ice. This family already has enough problems. Don't make more. Tell me, I begged. She stormed toward the door. We're leaving in the morning. Pack your things. I can't walk, I shouted. She didn't stop. She didn't turn. She just left. The door slammed behind her. I lay there, shaking, my heart pounding in terror and confusion. The nurse rushed in, startled. Are you okay? No. I wasn't okay. Not even close. I grabbed her wrist weakly. Please, who is the man in the waiting room? The one who signed the paper? She hesitated, torn between rules and compassion. He said he's your emergency guardian. My emergency what? He gave the documents. Said he had legal authority to protect you if anything happened. My breath caught. Legal. Authority. Protect. 3 words my mother had never offered me. Can I see him? I whispered. She nodded. I'll bring him. Minutes later, the door opened again, and the stranger stepped in. Tall. Early 30s. Dark hair. Sharp eyes softened by concern. A presence that felt strangely familiar and heartbreakingly safe. He stood at the foot of my bed. Raina, he said gently, I'm Aaron, and I need to tell you something important. Something your mother hid from you for 16 years. My heart stopped. My entire life paused. Because in his eyes, I didn't see a stranger. I saw the truth I had never been allowed to know. Aaron stood there, silent for a moment, watching me with eyes full of something I didn't recognize at first. Not pity, not fear, not judgment. Something gentler, something protective, something I had never seen reflected in anyone looking at me, least of all my mother. My breath trembled as I tried to sit up a little. The movement sent a sharp pain up my leg, making me gasp. Aaron moved closer immediately. Easy, he said quietly. You don't need to hurt yourself. I'm here now. I'm here now. Words my own mother had never said. I swallowed hard. You said you had something to tell me. Something she's been hiding. He exhaled slowly, running a hand through his hair. A nervous gesture, not rehearsed or dramatic. Just real. And then he said the words that split open the world. I thought I knew. I'm your father. The monitor beside me beeped faster. My chest tightened. My vision blurred. No, I whispered. No, that can't be. He nodded, eyes full of pain. I know it's a lot. I know it's sudden. But it's the truth. The room spun. Father? My father? The man my mother said abandoned us? The man she said threw us away when I was still a baby? The man she despised so much, she never let me ask a single question? I stared at him, searching his face, his eyes, anything that could prove or disprove his words. Why did you sign the papers? I finally managed. He sat down in the visitor's chair, elbows on his knees, voice quiet but steady. Because I still have legal rights, he said. Rights your mother tried to erase. She told everyone I was gone, but she never completed the guardianship transfer. She forged half the documents. She lied to the courts. She lied to you. My throat closed. Why? Aaron's jaw clenched. Because she didn't want me to have you, he said. She didn't want to share you. And she didn't want you growing up knowing the truth. What truth? My voice cracked. He hesitated, emotions flickering across his face like a storm. That I never left you, he whispered. I was forced out. My breath shattered. My mother said you abandoned me, that you didn't care. He looked at me with eyes that broke me. I never abandoned you, Reina, he said, voice thick with grief. I fought for you. I went to court. I begged for visitation. Your mother blocked every attempt. She told the judge lies until I was pushed out completely. Tears slid down my cheeks, hot, uncontrolled. And when I saw your name on the emergency record tonight, he continued, I came immediately. I wasn't going to lose you again. My chest ached so deeply I couldn't breathe. How did you know I was hurt? He hesitated. I've been following your school records quietly, from a distance. Anytime something happened, illness, school change, absence, I checked. Just to make sure you were alive. Safe. Alive. Safe. Two things my mother never cared about. Your mother refused your surgery, he said, voice trembling with anger he fought to control. She wanted to take you home untreated. I couldn't let that happen. I wiped my face with shaking hands. Why would she do that? Why would she risk my health? He stared at the floor for a long moment. There's more she hid from you, he whispered. More than you can imagine. But I need you to hear this first. He looked at me with a father's pain. You deserved love. Real love. And I tried to give it. She took you away before I could. A sob tore out of me. He reached out, gently, carefully, leaving his hand open on the bed, not touching, not forcing. The way a real parent waits for their child's consent. I stared at his hand, and all at once, the dam inside me broke. I placed my trembling fingers in his. For the first time in my life, I felt what safety was supposed to feel like. Aaron closed his eyes, exhaling a breath he'd held for 16 years. I'm not leaving again, Reina, he whispered. Not unless you tell me to. My heart ached with a new fear. A fear I had never known. What is my mother hiding? I asked, voice barely audible. He opened his eyes, filled with sorrow. She didn't just keep me away, he said quietly. She kept your identity away. I froze. My identity? He nodded. You're not who you think you are. For a moment, the room was silent. Not the peaceful kind, the suffocating kind, that wraps itself around your ribs and squeezes until you can't breathe. I stared at Aaron, at the man claiming to be my father, the man who risked everything to sign the papers, the man my mother erased from my life. What do you mean? I whispered. That I'm not who I think I am? Aaron's shoulders collapsed, as if the truth itself was too heavy to carry. He rubbed his palms together, trying to find the right words. Your mother didn't tell you the truth about your birth, he said slowly. She didn't tell you the truth about your name, or your identity, or why she was so desperate to keep you away from me. I shook my head, my heartbeat pounding behind my eyes. My birth? My name? What does that even mean? He reached into his jacket and pulled out a folded envelope. Old, creased, nearly falling apart. He placed it on the blanket near my hand. "This," he whispered, "is your original birth certificate." My stomach dropped. Birth certificate? Why would he have it? Why wouldn't she have it? Hands trembling, I opened the envelope. Inside was a single document, faded at the edges. I scanned the lines. Child's name, Aria Hale. Father, Aaron Hale. Mother. The space was blank. 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 I felt like I was falling again, like that night on the marble floor. Never ended. "That's not my name," I said, voice thin. "I'm Raina. I've always been Raina." Aaron shook his head gently. "Your mother changed your name when she took you." "Took me?" My voice cracked. "Like kidnapped." He didn't answer. His silence was the answer. My entire body went cold. No, that can't be true," I said. "She always said you abandoned us." "She lied." His voice didn't rise, but the pain inside it sliced through the room. "She wanted you to live under her identity, under her control, under her last name. She refused to let you have any part of me." Tears blurred my vision. "She told everyone you were born with her name," he continued. "But the truth is, you were never legally hers. Not fully. Not the way she claimed." "Then whose child am I?" The question ripped out of me like a wound. Aaron swallowed hard. "You're mine," he said. "And your biological mother died when you were a baby." The monitor beeped erratically. My breath stopped. My entire world shifted under me. "She died," I whispered. "My mother isn't my mother?" He shook his head. "She raised you, yes. But she also took you. She shut me out. She erased the woman who gave birth to you. She erased me. She even erased your name." Everything inside me broke. Every memory, every rule, every punishment, every cold stare, every moment I begged her to love me. All of it twisted into something darker.
A lie.
My entire life.
A lie.
"She refused your surgery," he added softly, "because she knew the hospital would check your identity. Real guardianship, real documents, real medical history, and the truth would come out." I pressed my hands against my eyes, trying to breathe. "So, I almost lost my leg," I whispered, "just so she could keep her secret?" Aaron nodded, jaw tight. "She would have rather seen you crippled than have the world discover. You were never legally hers." My chest cracked open. A sob tore out of me, raw and loud. Aaron moved closer, but he didn't touch me, just waited, letting me choose. I leaned forward, burying my face in my hands, shoulders shaking with the weight of 16 stolen years. "That woman," I choked out. "The one I thought was my mother. She never loved me, did she?" Aaron's voice broke. "She loved the control. Not you." The door suddenly swung open. My mother stood there, eyes blazing, expression murderous. "You," she hissed at Aaron, "had no right to tell her anything." Aaron stood slowly. No fear, no hesitation. She deserved the truth. Her eyes snapped to me. "Raina." My voice was hoarse but steady. "Don't call me that." She froze. "Don't ever call me that again," I whispered. "That's the name you stole." The battle line was drawn. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't on her side. My mother stood at the doorway, breath sharp, shoulders trembling with rage, like a storm barely held back by skin. Her eyes didn't land on my broken leg, or the tears still wet on my cheeks, or the birth certificate lying like a ghost on my blanket. She only looked at me, as if I were property she had just caught trying to escape. "Give me that," she snapped, lunging toward the paper. Aaron stepped between us instantly, one arm extended. "No," he said, voice steady. "She has the right to know who she is." My mother laughed, a cold, brittle sound that made my stomach twist. "She is who I made her, not who you claim she is." She turned to me, eyes burning. "You listen to me, Raina?" I said, "Don't call me that." My voice exploded before I even realized it. Her mouth snapped shut. Shock flickered across her face. Not remorse. Not sadness, but disbelief that I dared raise my voice at her. 16 years. 16 years she never flinched at my pain. But now she flinched at my strength. Aria, Aaron said softly behind me, his voice steadying my breath, reminding me I had a name that belonged to me, not to her story. My mother spun on him. You don't get to call her that either. You left us. You pushed me out. Aaron's voice rose for the first time. You lied under oath. You forged documents. You kidnapped her by manipulating the system. The word hit the room like lightning.
Kidnapped. The air changed.
Even the machines seemed to fall silent. My mother's face went pale. Watch your words, she hissed. You have no proof. Aaron pulled another paper from the envelope. Actually, he said quietly, I have everything. She froze. Her eyes widened the way a predator's does, when it realizes the trap was meant for them all along. What is that? I whispered. Court file, Aaron said. Sealed, but still valid. The custody case she buried. The judge's order she violated. And the emergency guardian clause that makes me responsible for you, not her. I felt the world shake beneath me. He wasn't bluffing. He had proof. Real proof. Enough to destroy every lie she built my life on. My mother lunged forward, trying to snatch the file. But this time I grabbed it first. With shaking hands, I held the evidence she feared, the truth she tried to bury, the past she erased. She froze in her tracks. Her eyes locked on mine. And for the first time ever, I saw fear. Aria, she said, almost whispering. You don't understand how complicated things were. No, I said, voice low, cracking but strong. I don't understand how a mother lets her child almost lose a leg to hide her own lies. Her face contorted. She is my child. I raised her. I fed her. I clothed her. And you broke her, Aaron said. A nurse burst into the room then, startled by the noise, eyes widening at the tension. What is going on here? She asked sharply. My mother pointed at Aaron. He's poisoning her mind. He's lying. The nurse stepped in front of me protectively. Ma'am, you need to calm down. This is a hospital. She's my daughter. Aaron looked at me, waiting, giving me the power. My mother always stole. I swallowed. No, I whispered. I'm not yours. Not anymore. My mother staggered back a step. It was like watching a tower crack from the inside. You're choosing him, she cried. He's a stranger. So are you, I whispered. Those words broke something in her, something she never thought could break. She trembled, with anger, with fear, with the realization that control was slipping from her fingers. The nurse gently placed a hand on my shoulder. Do you want her removed? She asked. My lungs stilled. This was my moment, my line, my choice. I looked at the woman who stole my name, my identity, my childhood, my father, my truth, and I whispered, yes. My mother gasped, a sound I had never heard from her. Raw, panicked, human. Security was called. And for the first time ever, she had to leave. She had to leave me. Not by choice. Not by power. But by my voice. And as the door closed behind her, my world didn't shatter. It finally began to rebuild. After security escorted her out, the hospital room fell into a silence. So heavy it felt like a second gravity. My chest trembled. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. 16 years of fear didn't disappear just because she walked out the door. But something inside me shifted. For the first time, the air didn't feel like it belonged to her. It felt like mine. Aaron took a careful step closer.
Still giving me space.
Still waiting for permission. A stranger in title, but not in feeling. You did something brave tonight, he said softly. I wiped my cheek. I feel like I can't breathe. Like everything I ever believed just snapped. He nodded gently. That's what the truth does. It breaks before it rebuilds. A nurse came in with a folder. Aaron, the social worker is here. She wants to speak with both of you. My heart dropped again. Another storm. Another unknown. But this time, I wasn't facing it alone. White medium star, legal consequences. The social worker entered with a calm, steady expression. A woman who had seen broken families before and knew exactly where to press for truth. She read my chart, then looked at Aaron. You listed yourself as the emergency guardian. Can you explain your legal relation to the child?
Child.
The word stung. I wasn't a child. Not anymore. Aaron unfolded the custody documents slowly, like revealing evidence of a long-buried crime. I am her biological father, he said. Her mother illegally took her after a disputed custody ruling 16 years ago. She changed the child's name without consent. She hid medical and school records. And tonight, she refused medically necessary surgery to avoid discovery. The social worker's face tightened. Her eyes shifted to me. Is this true? She asked softly. My voice cracked. She signed nothing. She didn't want them to treat me. She said I embarrassed her. The social worker put the file down.
Hard.
This is no longer a simple guardianship issue, she said. This is medical neglect, identity fraud, custodial interference. I swallowed hard, but some invisible weight loosened in my chest. She turned to Aaron. Effective immediately, you are authorized to make all medical decisions on her behalf. We will pursue emergency guardianship certification until a judge rules formally. Emergency guardianship. That meant he was truly here to stay. My mother's power. Gone in a single signature. Aaron nodded firmly. I'll take responsibility. Just help her get the surgery she needs. The social worker smiled softly at me. You're safe now, sweetheart. We'll take it from here. Safe. The word felt foreign. Strange.
Warm.
White mediums are the first real choice of my life. Surgery happened the next morning. Not refused. Not delayed. Not weaponized. Just done. Because someone cared whether I could walk again. When I woke from anesthesia, Aaron was there. Not pacing. Not angry. Not annoyed. Just there. When I opened my eyes, he let out a breath. You scared me, he whispered. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, but because the shock of being cared for felt unreal. You stayed?
My voice was groggy.
He nodded. I'm not missing another moment. White medium star reclaiming myself. Days passed. I healed slowly. Physically. Emotionally. Identity-wise. One morning, Aaron brought a small notebook. I want you to choose, he said gently. Your name. Your future. Your life. I stared at the blank first page. For 16 years, someone else chose everything for me.
How to speak. How to act.
What to fear.
Who to be. Now.
I wrote one word.
Aria.
My real name. My first truth. Aaron's eyes softened, breaking just a little. She would have been proud of you, he whispered. My mother? I asked softly. He nodded. Your real one. The woman who held you in her arms and told me you'd change the world someday. A tear slid down my cheek, but it wasn't from pain. It was from finally belonging somewhere. White medium star, the woman who lost her power. My mother tried to visit again, but the hospital didn't let her near me. The social worker blocked her. Aaron blocked her. The system she once manipulated now stood against her. She yelled. She threatened.
She cried.
But this time, none of it reached me. She lost the one person
she believed she owned.
Not because I was taken from her, but because I finally walked away. White medium star ending. My future begins. The day I was discharged, Aaron walked beside me,
steadying my steps.
I looked at the sunlight filtering through the hospital doors. A doorway I had entered broken, and was now leaving. Reborn. He asked quietly. Ready, Aria? I took a slow breath. For the first time in my life, yes. Because on that day, I finally understood. One signature stole my past, but another signature gave me my future back.